Hey, and we're live now streaming to YouTube Analysts After Work, episode 17. And with me are two people that probably don't need an introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. Actually, they don't need an introduction. Never mind. No. Rylan Layton, Angela Wick, welcome to Analysts After Work, both making your debut. Hey. How are you? What's going on? And Ryland is immediately regretting coming on the show.
No, this is great. I love Angela and I've done one or two presentations like together or close to together at events. Yeah. And I don't think I've been on. I think I might have been on a panel with you once in the course of things.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is, I mean, that's saying something because like you guys are both two of the bigger names in what we. Stop. Two of the bigger names in what we do. Actually, let kind of a perfect segue to that. You probably have heard the news of the passing of Bob Prentice, Bob the BA. I'm not going to suggest doing a moment of silence because Bob would have hated that. He absolutely would have. In fact, I was keynoting a conference. I was doing the closing keynote for a conference, and they asked me to do a moment of silence for him, and I turned it into, let's do a moment of loudness. And I asked everybody to come off mute and just make noise and like sing if you want to. So I mean, cheers to Bob and the stuff that he's done. He was and is a titan of the BA community. So to Bob, cheers.
Absolutely. To Bob.
On that note, since we've already cheersed, Angela, we'll start with you. What are you drinking?
Straight up ice water.
Oh, I don't believe that is permitted. I would not have signed off on that. Okay.
Hold on. Let's just remind, I am in Pacific time zone where I haven't even had lunch yet. And today I still have my rehearsal for the BBC. And then after that, a tennis lesson. Like, I got a full day before I can get to the beer part. So, but I will
get it. But like, Jamie Champagne was on the first episode.
Oh,
and it was 10 a.m. and she had tea, and I still gave her crap. So
I thought you were going to say she had a Crown and Coke at 10 a.m.
No. She had tea, and Jen Batten was the other guest, and we were just like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. So. And you know, it seems that people already know you well. So ice water, you are forgiven. Ryland, same question.
Lemonade.
Oh, geez.
Not even hard or spiked.
Are you guys making you're making me? So I am rocking some amaretto di Serono. It's very sweet. But this is the first time I'm actually drinking alone, so I feel a little bit out in left field. Yes, well, Steve.
Hold on, I was at a wine dinner last night, so
okay.
Well, maybe the wine is still in me and in spirit. You are not drinking alone.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So it's your first time on the show. I want to welcome you, and Rylan, we sort of connected on this, and you were one of those names that I've got a list here of people I want to get on the show at some point. And Rylan, you are there. You're crossed out now because you're on. But we connected because you've got what's that?
I hope I can come back someday already, and I will drink then. I will bring a drink that is
okay. That's fair. Okay. So
we'll do a happy hour my time, and I start drinking some beer. I would love to see what the heck is going on with you two with 3 hours ahead of me. Touche.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still keep it classy. Like,
of course.
we'll keep it classy. My hair, you can generally tell what time it is based on my hair. Like the longer the day goes, the puffier it gets. So this is like my end of, because it's the end of my day.
because you do this all day and it goes up and up.
Because I just like today was a particularly rough day. I had some words in a workshop, and anyways, the less said about that, the better. But anyways, Ryland, we sort of started chatting about some stuff that you've got going on, and I found it incredibly interesting with what's going on. I did complete actually, I'll let you talk about it. What do you got going on?
That's okay. What were you saying? You completed something?
No, I completed the survey that you did, because you're doing. Awesome. I'm trying to help a brother out here, Ryland.
You are doing awesome.
You are doing some research into how our professional lives have changed as a result of COVID, and can you go into a little more detail?
Sure. Let me set a little context, then I'll show a couple of slides, and you can let me know if that's
for sure.
I love the crawl on here. I love being able to see people's comments. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of you may know I do some talking on career subjects and agile subjects and stuff. Actually, the agile stuff led to the career things, because I started on the agile thing like 5-6 years ago, and maybe a little more than that. And folks were saying to me, I'm not sure how agile is going to affect my career. And we started having career conversations, and should I learn this, and should I do a certification, and should I become a Scrum Master, or am I going to be a product manager or a product owner, or in the case of PMs, am I going to have to be a Scrum Master or a release train engineer, and all that other stuff. So I wound up having all these career conversations with people that led to that career book I put out at the end of the year. And then it still happens now with, well, how is this what planning should I be doing differently because of COVID? What should I, now that we're all working from home, now that all these other things have changed, what should go on? So, and I'll share this. And Vince later on is going to share a link to this survey as well. But let me find that button to share my screen.
I'm going to throw it up now, but while you're sharing, Ryland, and I'm going to have to add it to the stream. We do have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jennifer, friend of the show, Jennifer Forrest, Genfo, are those oars behind you?
Right. So maybe later I will tell the story of how I actually have a thing about this, because I get this all the time. So if you still want to give me like 3 minutes on it later, I will find the thing.
Okay. So Jen, you're going to have to come back to it in about like 20 minutes at least. So, but we will talk about it, because now I'm fascinated. Jen, when she was on, holds the record for the cheapest drink, ice water not included, because she had some wine from Aldi, and it just, I loved it. It was like $2 wine, and I could not let it go. Anyways, so I'm going to throw up your
$3 Chuck.
I'm sorry.
Cheaper than $2 Chuck.
I don't know what that is, and it sounds terrible.
If it's $2 in Atlanta, it's $4 in California.
Okay.
And they won't import it into Canada because
we have class.
It's Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's.
I know about Trader Joe's. I've never been to a Trader Joe's, but I've heard of it.
So I put this survey out there, and it'll look a little different if you get if you have what it looks like. It'll look like this too on your side of the fence when you're answering it.
Right.
But it's basically saying to people things like this. I'm going to put back to the other view, because that way I don't have to answer it. Otherwise I do this. So it talks about where do you live. We get some demographic information. Where do you live? This is of course the designer view, so it gets a little long. I have all the answers.
Sure.
Gender, ethnicity, some stuff about school.
Demographic stuff.
Yeah, but then we get into the things that I think are important. So how many people are living in your household? How many are at higher risk? I'm trying to get an idea of how many people are living together right now, I thought. What are people doing about exposure? How many people, what's the impact in your world? How many, the way this picture really looks is unaffected, positive with impacts, positive with serious impacts and dying. And then the kinds of spectrums of people we know. So trying to get a feel for that. As about you as a professional, what do you do? That was really hard. I actually engaged an editor. I paid an editor who I've worked with on one of my books to help me with this, and she was worth every penny. She's done a great job. And she said, here are things you might want to think about for different surveys. So she helped me really refine this a lot. And then finding out, so to keep going from there, kind of demographics, and then how has COVID affected you personally in the personal life? And then in employment, did you lose your job? And if so, have you gotten a new one? Did you change jobs voluntarily? Hours and things change. What kind of supports are you experiencing? Things like that. And then work from home questions. So we go on about 35 questions altogether. It's not a huge amount. Okay. We also look into what's important to you. How have things changed for you? So things that have changed as a priority, much less important, much more important. Career, family and children, your spiritual life, your hobbies. And then the same kind of question about stuff at work. Work you like, flexibility in schedules, compensation, managers, how your supervisor is, whether you think the company culture is good, whether you think the executives are good, possibility of promotions, things like that. It's all there in the survey. And then activities people are doing about education and so on. So I have some of this to share. I have a couple of prelim things that I'm going to share that just popped out. So,
well, this is highly irregular, but yes, you can do that. Okay. So, and I put the link up. If anybody, Jen's here, Judy's here, Steve's here, Jared's here. If you guys want to do this survey, it's a little bit cumbersome because you got to type some letters, but check out Ryland's survey, or you know what, hit Ryland up on LinkedIn. I'm sure he'll flip it to you. But
yeah, I've been sharing it on LinkedIn like every couple of days. So if you want to read, it's there. It's definitely a thing about this. So it's all over the place. It's good. And do it afterwards. It's going to take you a few minutes.
Yeah. Don't do it now. Don't leave the show.
And please share it out.
Continue watching, but then do it later.
Please share it out.
Do it later.
A couple of quick responses. I pulled a few facts that I thought might be interesting. Again, analyzing the data is a thing. I pulled a sample of data and did some transformations on it when I had about 54 responses to see what the results were starting to look like. A couple of things I've tried to find out. So that's the breakdown of people who are people living with risk in their homes, in the sense of like family members who are really at risk.
Right.
Okay. Nobody, 1, 2, 3. If you collapse it, 60% of us have somebody at home who is at risk, who we identify as at risk for COVID-19. Impact in your network. Somebody in your network is affected. 76% of us know somebody who has at least tested positive. Okay. These numbers don't add up. They're not supposed to. A person could answer more than one of these. This is again, things I'm going to have to dive into more. But 6% of us know somebody who has died from it. Hospitalization, 16, positive and mild symptoms. A quarter of us know somebody who has tested positive and had at least cold level symptoms, is how I would interpret that. Those symptoms. And a quarter of us don't know anybody, which accounts for a lot of, I think, the spread of confusion about this thing, right? We, from serious impact personally in our lives to, they tested, but they had a cold, to nothing. It's why I think there's a big spectrum across reaction of this thing, and why it's hard for people to see it.
So I mean, distill it down to like, because to me, like, the only thing that's changed for me, and I do tick a couple of these, and I don't want to say which ones because I'm private like that. But like for me, the change has been positive from a professional perspective, because I mean, I was, an hour and a half commute each way. Like that is gone. I'm not tired anymore. It has been like, I don't wish that this had happened, but it's been a positive, it's been a positive experience for me. I'm really not looking forward to going back to work. But I mean, maybe that's so. How has it changed for you, Ryland? I'm gonna take this off. Yeah. You're good? You're done?
No, I got 2 more slides.
Oh, you got 2 more. And here I am trying to cut you off. Like,
it's all right. You're actually hitting the right thing. So let me tell you about a question I asked, which was, so what about work for individuals, right? How we know people working from home. How much more are they working from home? What's the delta here, right? So this line is no barrier. Work presented no barrier and permitted it, right? Your job could be done remotely, and your work was fine with it. It said yes, you can do that. No barrier, but your job said no. We know a lot of corporate cultures, sounds like yours is one of them, that sure, your job can be done remotely, but you aren't allowed to, because I don't trust that if I can't see you, you're doing your job.
Oh, very much bums in seats. Yeah.
So that existed. And then I wanted to give an option for some people's jobs do not permit being done remotely, right?
Sure.
A lot of direct service providers, a lot of people in medical fields, some telehealth happens, but some people you got to see the person. It's just how it is. So there's your responders, 47 and 7 respectively. And just to give a quick snapshot on this, right? Some people were working home before full time. Let's exclude them. Of the folks that are left, 91% have increased working from home, with 72% of those now full time from home.
Okay.
So not everybody's full time, but 72%. If that company before said sure, go ahead. Interestingly, 71% for the people who that company before said no, you can't work from home. Yeah, I wouldn't call that different. They're all working from home the same amount now, full time.
Right.
That's full time. Okay. And then people who couldn't, most of them still can't. A couple of them are. I'm guessing 1 or 2 people either answered the question wrong. I can't really filter for that yet. But they answered the question wrong, or somebody's working from home. Maybe that's somebody who's gone into full-time telemedicine, maybe. And some of them are working from home a little. So a little bit of that's going on.
Right.
Me personally, I'm in this 8. I actually had taken a new job around the turn of the year to work with my employer, New Signature, which just got acquired by Cognizant about a month ago. So
cool.
So interesting going through all these transitions. No complaint about them. It's just been interesting.
Not publicly, at least.
No, I'll be totally candid, public or private. I don't have any complaints.
Ryland.
Hey, Cognizant, that's yet. I'm watching you. I'm watching.
Okay.
But it's all good. Honestly, it hasn't been a bad thing. Everybody's walking their talk. But to be honest, one reason I took the job at the turn of the year was it's a consulting position, but it's 80% work from home is the expectation.
Oh, cool.
Some travel. That was the company culture, and we've been told it'll keep. So I'm one of those people. I'm full-time from home. I go to a client site once in a while. That's about it. So I'm kind of the same as in sense of I've been working from home. I was luckily set up for it.
Right.
Hasn't affected me a lot, except I was looking forward to seeing my distributed team more often and going to client sites once in a while for some in-person power facilitation work. Let's get on a board with Post-it notes. I'm a Post-it note addict, damn it. Yeah, I want these things on walls.
Look, if I showed you my office, I've got sticky notes everywhere. I've got Kanban boards everywhere. But the medium you use might change, but you can still do that.
Yeah,
I buy the whole, the human touch. The people like other people, blah 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 blah. But but you could. I
get it.
I don't like being hugged, but I do like people.
Go ahead. First, go ahead.
No, but you can still do that. You can choose to use tools, right? So maybe is there a tool that you use that can simulate that? Because I was asked the question when we first went into quarantine or lockdown, can we do workshops? And of course you can. You just have to do it differently. So what's something that you do or that you use to do it differently? And then you're gonna get the same question, Angela, because you've been too quiet and it's freaking me out.
And I have one more thing later on. But Angela, why don't you go first on the tools thing? I'll come back after.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, tools. One of the big changes for COVID for me is I'm not traveling, and it's just really interesting reflecting on that, right? Wait a second, am I ever going to travel again like I did before? And am I happy about that or not, right? And quite frankly, I know there's a lot of folks that are, struggling with the COVID-15, kind of like the freshman 15. And I've been in a position where I've actually been getting in shape and losing weight, and a lot of it because I think I'm not traveling, right? And so that's been fun. But yeah, what it means is we have to amp up how we do things, right? As a business owner, I really had to look at, wait a second, how do I deliver my services, and how am I going to amp it up and make it a lot better online than it ever has been? So
right.
Whether it's consulting or teaching, right, I've been doing a lot more experimentation. I think I had pretty good virtual skills before COVID, but just really challenging myself to say, what can we do better? Mm-hmm. And so, I've been using a lot of electronic whiteboards like Mural and Miro. doing the same type of things we do in a live classroom online. So literally small group breakouts, flip charts, sticky notes, all of it's still happening. And if we're not all getting there with our work, I'm a little afraid. We got to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the last things I did when we were in the office, we were talking about how to define process levels. So like, what's the difference between a level 1 versus a level 2 versus level 3? And I did this example where the example was ordering pizza. And so ordering pizza at a level, and it's just meant to keep it like, relatable for everyone.
Right? Vince, I have the same exercise in one of my classes. It's like level 0 through 4 order pizza.
Oh, okay. No, we've never talked about this. I will flip between order pizza and order coffee. Like it's just meant to be sort of relatable.
You're part of the psychotic
totally,
friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Exactly, relatable.
And you know what? Like it's not like, I stole it. I mean, chances are if anybody stole it from anybody, it would have been I stole it from you. But I don't think I did.
I don't think you've ever seen my stuff.
I've never I mean so there you go.
It's just funny, right?
But like, so I wrote it, and then the other day I was in a workshop where that question came up again, and the senior leader in the room said, "Hey, can you do the pizza example again? Like, put you on the spot. Can you do the pizza example again?" Well, I turned my laptop into tablet mode. I got my little stylus, and I opened up the whiteboard in Teams, and I did it. And it's like I could do it whether I was there with you or it's like we have the technology at our disposal. We just need to do something about it. So, that's to me, it's been no different, except the medium that I'm using is different. But Ryland, what about you? What are you doing differently?
So, well, a lot is the same and a lot is different. It's funny. Okay. If I were in a room with folks, I would, like, when I've done group facilitations like that for requirements workshops or whatever, there's not so much training for me usually. It's usually workshops of some kind, like elicitation type workshops, mapping workshops. If it's me and another colleague or whatever, we have like 1, maybe 2 projectors, so we're showing different things, or 1 that we can share. I'll take notes from the people, depending on what's going on, I'll be taking a document of notes, which I prefer to show people as I'm doing it, just in Word, so I can say, hey, did I get this right? Or they can just monitor me to correct it, so I'm not asking people to review my notes later. They're seeing, oh, he's writing down what I'm saying. And they also say better things because they can see, oh, he's freaking paying attention to me and I'm going to be tied to this thing. I'll put their name on it if it's important. Or I'll say, okay, wait a minute.
Sneaky.
I'm hearing you say this. I'm hearing you say that. Do we need a decision or at least a pro tem position so that we can advance? And then we'll revisit if it doesn't fit.
Awesome.
So that's the thing I do no matter what. If I have to share a screen, this is bridging with a topic Angela and I talked about what's the difference between regular and senior professionals, which I think this is going to connect to really well in a minute. So that's like one thing on a screen. And I might use tools like this, like the little things on Windows. Okay, I'm going to put that on half my screen, right? Whoops. I'm also not sharing, but I just use the keystrokes to move that to 1/2 my screen and some other document, the other half, things that you just got to know how to do because I'm only sharing one screen. I use Mural. I just got introduced to that, and I love it. It is so cool.
It is cool.
It is very cool. If I'm inside my company doing a workshop, no big deal. But if it's outside with clients and we really have to collaborate, I want a tool that's not dependent on my own level of tech. I want some vendor to just do it because it's easier. Right. I don't have to arrange logins and all that other stuff. So that's been cool. Beyond that, you may notice I'm standing. I have a desk I can move between standing and sitting so that I don't get bored physically all day. And honestly, the other thing I do, and I'm loving to see it works here, is I treat this like I'm in front of a room of people and I use my hands and I make sure I'm in frame and gesturing and like, let's do that. And I really try to encourage other people to do the same. Because one of the things you miss being out of the room, it's all the nonverbals, right? All the nonverbals and paraverbals of somebody not liking that. And if people are smart, they'll turn on their cameras so they know I'm watching for those nonverbals to bring them in.
Right.
And I'll also coach people to tell them, like, we use Teams a lot. Use the raise hand function. I will get to you. I promise. Just do that to let me know, and we'll find a stopping point and get to.
Yeah.
So that's what's been a lot different for me.
Cool.
There's a social aspect, and maybe I'll come back and do that on one of the other slides I had in a minute. But
yeah, I still have your slides, but I figured there was a natural. I was curious.
I like this feeling. I don't need.
I've tried to do this. Like I'm sitting down, but I've tried to, whenever I've done like a webinar or a keynote or whatever, like I will use the full space. So like, because again, when you're in front of an audience, you can use the space to your advantage to make a point. So if I want to make a point, like I will get right in.
Yes.
And like make a point, and it's like I'm watching, and I will stare right at the thing, like I'm watching you. Or the hands, right? It looks like it's 3-dimensional, like
right.
So, like you gotta it's the same, but it's different, and I think that's fascinating.
Sometimes I pet this dragon to confuse people.
I don't have a dragon.
For evil moments.
I don't know where to go from there.
Wherever you want. It's all good. It's good that this is like a bunch of us out at night drinking, because I think we've got that level of coherency.
That's what it is. Like we already have talked about proper business analysis more than, proper research and analysis more than any other episode. But I want to come back to something you said, Angela, because I've had the same sort of thought about travel. Because I spent a lot, and I probably had about 30 flights last year, which is unusually high for me, given that I have my day job as well, and that the speaking thing and the training thing is like my side hustle. But I've sort of I see now that I was saying yes to a ton of things, and I don't think I ever want to travel to a place I don't want to travel to again. Like if I don't want to go to, and I don't want to pick on a particular, if I wasn't in Toronto and I don't want to go to Toronto, like if I did something with Toronto, I would do a webinar. I think there are. Yeah, and that's ridiculous, right? Like, I think you know what I'm talking about. That's ridiculous. So,
well, I don't have a way to chat in the public chat forum, so I had to send
it. Oh, you don't? Okay, so you can just say it. Like, Angela averaged 100 flights a year before COVID. That is ridiculous.
Oh, you can't.
And now, thank you, Rick. Yes, it's part of the. You just grow up. It's inherent. But I don't think I'm gonna view travel the same way, because I'm really gonna be, when we can travel again, I'm gonna be a lot more selective in what I want to do, because, and you and I talked about this in a call about a week ago. Like, it's not just the day of the conference or the event. It's the day before to get there. It's the day after. It's like you are giving up a chunk of time, and you're not going to get it back. So I've sort of decided, like, what do you think that's changed for you as well?
Yeah, completely. And the other really interesting aspect that's kind of fun about this all is I've found, again, a rekindled interest in personal travel. So how do I explain how strange that sounds? When you travel 100 flights per year for business, the idea of getting on one more flight is just not what you want to do. And so I found myself not being excited to take personal vacations. Like vacation conference. I know we all love seeing each other at conferences and all that, but when you travel this much, the idea of even one more is like, can I handle it?
Yeah.
And it's not that fun thing it used to be, right? I love being there, but it's so much work to travel and get back and then deal with laundry, and you have a 20-hour window between laundry, groceries, bill pay, see your friends, do everything, right? And so now all of a sudden with 6 months without travel, I'm like, I think I want to go to this place, not for work, but for fun. And I
imagine that.
But there's excitement all of a sudden. What's that? Oh.
Right. I say this to folks all the time. The one place that I went last year, I went to Hawaii last year, and it was the one place that actually made everybody jealous. But like whenever I go somewhere, it's like, oh, this week I'm going to be in Boston. I know our boy Steve Jones is on. I'm going to be in Boston, and I know he's not in Boston, but close enough, Steve. and people are like, oh, that's cool. Like, are you going to go see this? You're gonna like, no, I'm going to be in a hotel, and then a convention center, or like a room. I'm not going to see anything.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to Boston and like sightseeing.
You're going to see the transit to and from your hotel.
Yeah.
You're going to see the airport. You're going to see the restaurant at or near the hotel.
Yeah.
And then the work location, and then the reverse back.
So Steve just put an interesting comment. He's like, why not turn these business trips into co-located vacation spots? But I'll tell you why. And I'm going to get a little facetious about it. Well, A, it's money. B, it's my time. No matter how cool the place is, I am missing my family, my friends, my health. I'm missing eating healthy, cooking for myself, my tennis team, my workout classes, like my friends, my family, a dating life. Like everything suffers when you travel, and it becomes a very big health issue, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, the relationships in your life.
Yes.
Like, and so I know it's now for people who don't travel all the time, it sounds like, but that'd be so cool. And it's like, for those of us that do, we're just like, if I go on one more trip.
No, and it's you got to find the good stuff in there, right? Like there is good stuff. It's hanging out with folks that, because we speak at a lot of the same things. It's great catching up with you guys. That's sort of the point to this show.
I love getting to do that. It's just it's haphazard is the other thing, right? Because like at the last couple of conferences in Toronto that I've been at, where Angela's been also, I have been looking forward to seeing her for a dinner or whatever. And we sometimes manage to, like over the last 5-6 years, because we both love that conference in Toronto, the BAPM World from Diversified, wonderful stuff. It's just, sometimes we can find that time, but it's a business trip for people, including her and me. Sometimes you have to spend time with, in your case, a client, in my case, other people or whatever it is. And we can't find that time to connect up, and we steal a few minutes in the hall. It's not always that you get to see people. And the other thing I want to throw this in also is, so the last up until a year ago, even leaving out COVID, me and my husband would often take trips related to his business because he has to travel for work a lot more than I do, even pre this stuff. And we'd go wherever he was going. It's like, okay, well, he's already there, and there's some things.
Right.
We found, and at the end of the year, I'm like, we've spent a lot of our travel money. The trips haven't been that much fun. It's not like we didn't enjoy it, but it wasn't like awesome because he was just finishing work, and we happened to be where he's doing work anyway. So there's still work trailing him sometimes. It's not like we're away.
Right.
And we also said, I said to him, I don't mind some of these places, but we've done this now for a couple of years, and I feel like we're not going to where we want to go with our with our vacation time. We're going to where work happens to put you, or where you happen to have a project going on that you happen to see. I'm like, I want to do the things I want to do. I'm tired of spending money to go to where work happens to be putting you. And even if it's more expensive because we got to pick up a flight that we didn't have to pick up otherwise,
right?
I don't care anymore. I want to do the things I want to do.
Yeah.
And I know, Angela, for you and for Vince, when you're traveling, when you're on your own side hustle things, time is money. You got time you're not working because you're independent.
Yeah. That's a big deal, right? We don't have paid vacation. We don't even have paid unemployment if we lose our job.
Right.
Always
unemployed. And the number of conferences we're asked to speak at a year, we could easily make half minimum wage if we went to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. The only way I get to do as many of them as I do is typically work doesn't mind if I'm there as long as I'm not being paid. As long as there's T&E covered, they don't mind that I'm there. If I'm being paid, like some of the workshops I do, I occasionally do stuff that is paid work at conferences. I take PTO for those days, but everybody's fine with that. That way there's no conflict of interest. I'm not, double dipping.
Right.
Yeah.
I do. I do largely the same. I just use my vacation time. And now with being able to
time, right? You guys
and so last year we went on because I started banking vacation when I decided I was going to do this. Like even now I've got about 12 weeks of vacation banked up that I'm just not going to do anything with.
Must be nice.
But it's because of not being able to travel. But now being able to access, I like last year when I was at BBC, I would work during the day. And so I would, I was just in my hotel room in Fort Lauderdale instead of in my room at home in Toronto. But, it made it hard last year when my wife wanted to do a few weeks in Spain to say no. Because it's like, wow, this is going to cut into my ability to travel. I was like, I can't really complain because that was something that we wanted to do and where go see family and whatnot. And so it was good to be able to do that, but that initial feeling of like going somewhere not to go to a conference or to speak or to work it felt weird at first, and it had been a while since we had done it. I want to come back to this because I think travel is so to me, it's a fascinating subject, but I do want to, Angela, you asked me a question in the chat and I want to just address it. So your question was, what is poo-poos? So poo-poos is...
Jared, I'm sorry, I didn't get your comment. What does that mean?
So that was, Jared did that for me. Jared and I really bonded over poo-poos. So
is that a place?
Stick with me. It's not a place. So we were both at the same event last year in Honolulu. Jamie Champagne, the aforementioned Jamie Champagne, invited us out to speak at the PMI event, and we were just chatting and we went out for drinks the first day, just the three of us. And Jamie was like, yeah, tomorrow's going to be nice. You guys got this. You can have a couple hours. And then in the afternoon or in the evening, there's a speaker event where we're going to have the IABA chapter, the PMI chapter, and we're going to have some poo-poos, and it's going to be great. And Jared and I both look at each other like, poo-poos? What? Poo-poos? Poo-poos is appetizers. It's what you would eat at happy hour.
But it just became
poo-poo platter. There you go. So it just became a thing where like every time Jared and I interact in any way, even in this way where he's not on the show and he's just watching us, we talk about poo-poos because it became our thing. So the two Canadians were being the idiots at the conference, like, so when do poo-poos start? When are we getting to the poo-poos part of the day? And it's a silly word. It was just, but it means appetizer. So we had so much fun with it though. That that's what poo-poos are.
Cool. Thanks for explaining.
Yeah. Hey, no problem. So, we have an actual question here. Steve, I want to know the grocery shopping answer for Rylan and Angela. List as you think of it. Oh, this was from when Steve was on the show with Danelkis. When you go grocery, what is your approach to grocery shopping?
Hold on.
Okay. Oh,
I have a fantastic grocery shopping system, but I mean,
go ahead, Rylan.
Oh, it's going to take me a minute. I'm going to let her do it.
Of course.
It's called the sticky note with the essentials I have to pick up, and the rest is whatever I feel like.
I see. That's fair. I take.
Hold on, we've got sliced cauliflower, deli roast beef, cheese, and sugar on the must-get list.
Okay. So yours is in order of priority.
Well, I gotta get these things, but then somehow I end up with $150 of groceries.
Right, Angela, but I'm like, we're talking Moscow here, right? The must, should, could, would, right? Or won't. Right? You've Moscowed your list.
Because if I don't get sugar, the hummingbirds don't come visit me anymore.
Okay. So I do mine according to the principles of lean, where there is a minimum of wasted motion. where I just walk up aisles and I know what I need to grab, and it's very efficient. Ryland?
I have probably a method that is superior to both of yours, but I can't tell you that it's not duplicable. It's just not. You can't replicate this. I'm sorry. It involves this. That's my husband. Who has an eidetic memory and is obsessive compulsive.
Oh, that's not fair.
So not in a clinical way, but like in a subclinical way.
Right.
So no, honey, you're not going grocery shopping. You don't know. You won't do it right. Okay, you won't do it right. So I'm doing it. So,
all right.
And the funny thing is, he loves doing it when it's not yet right. You should see the fights about the dishwasher. Okay, there is a right way to load it, and I'm not ever correct. Okay, even if I replicate what he does, I'm not right this time because of a variation rule that has been undocumented and is therefore untestable. It's okay. We know these things.
Our experiences have been so similar.
Yes,
because I'm also always wrong. Now, let me ask you this, Ryan.
Hang on. I've gotten used to the following. Okay, honey, you handle it. If my way is wrong, I surrender this task to you. That's fine.
But do you do it intentionally? Like, do you screw up the first time intentionally? Because I think my wife thinks I do, and I don't.
I don't either. I'm not trying to dump a single thing on him.
Okay.
Add on to the groceries. Hold on. With COVID, the grocery stores now have arrows that you can only go down the aisle in certain directions. So the question is, I am one of those weirdos that just messes it up. And I'll be like, I gotta go down the aisle. Oh crap.
Yeah, nobody cares.
The wrong direction.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Here, so I'm gonna run in and sneak and grab that thing and go back. Anybody else?
Nobody cares.
You wait a minute. You're the person who introduces variation to the process. That drives me nuts. I have gone up an aisle to be able to go back down. It's like New York City. It's one way. Like
I just like to see if I can get kicked out, you know.
I mean, they're not going to kick you out, but like you may get a scoff or two.
I do. Mm-hmm.
This lady's going down the wrong way. Don't you see the arrows?
Yesterday, I was walking downtown for dinner for this wine dinner thing, and I had my mask in my hand because once I get to the main street, we have to put the mask on. It's like a public promenade, right?
Yes.
And then I get within like 50 feet of the promenade, and I'm all of a sudden my mask is no longer in my hand, and I'm like, it's not in my pocket. It's not in my purse. I felt so weird. I don't know. I must have dropped it somewhere along the way. I don't even know. But then I had to walk without it, and it felt
look at how adaptable we are, right? 6 months ago, you wouldn't have even had a mask with you.
Yeah.
And yet we have adapted quickly because we didn't have a choice. When we first went into lockdown, I ordered like 10 reusable masks. And my wife's like, why do you need 10? You need one. I'm like, no. This is going to become a thing. And we're going to need them. So now I've got different ones for like work and like,
it's another laundry pile every week.
Yeah.
You know, short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts, yoga pants, masks.
Okay.
Oh, I just throw everything in. I just throw everything. Like everything goes in. It all
goes in. When it comes out,
okay. Yeah, that's different. When it comes out, you got to fold it and do it properly. But okay, I thought you were saying before it goes in, like you do separate loads for that. That's a lot of effort.
For masks, I would find that washing them would destroy them. We just take a little alcohol spray. Sometimes it has a little citrus in it. Spray it off. Leave it still. Leave it there. Done.
I just like hand wash
for use in a few minutes.
Yeah.
I put it in the washing machine.
But this is the thing, right? Like
you're not wrong.
Yeah. No. They don't break. They're good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just looking at the chat a little bit. Thank you for asking me to get my husband on here to defend. He's busy, but later, if we do this again and he's here, I'll see if I can talk him into it. I'm sure he won't mind coming down and saying, yeah, this is why Ryland is wrong. I mean, getting to that an audience would be better than just doing it to me and the dog.
Yeah, I will say this though, Ryland. This is I'm not a trained psychologist or psychiatrist and or therapist, and so probably not the venue for that discussion. but I do agree with Dan. I mean, but this is where it's easy, and it's not like there's a couple people watching. It's not like this is going on the internet or anything. No one's ever going to find this. We can talk about spouses all we want.
No, it's really okay. Even if you did, it's all right. We talk about this. I said, honey, there really isn't a wrong way. I mean, someone had the comment of, look, if they're washed without breaking, it's a thing.
Yeah,
no, I think
Rick had that one.
Quality of being washed.
Right.
There's a way, if you don't do it right, the surfaces will not be cleaned, and that's a problem. So, yeah, thank you, Rick. So, but that's okay. I would be happier, even though we're not therapists. I know many, and not just because I've used their services. And I think it would be fun to have Mike here and to say, honey, let's just tell my peers this, because many of you I know personally, and I do hope to see you all again in person. I am missing that piece. Sorry, Vince. I am missing.
We will, Rylan. We will. Like, it's a matter of time. It might not be. Well, it's not going to be this year. I mean, hopefully it's next year. But like, we will see each other again. What I want. So one thing I think we need to really acknowledge, though, is that we've gone 45 minutes, and you've ducked the question from Jofo of your oars in the back. So let's go back to that.
Let me find my thing.
You are welcome.
Yeah,
I remember it for you.
I'm pretty sure I've got the thing. Hang on a second, and then I'll share my screen on it. I am maybe going to ask you to let me do that other one.
You want me to do the thing? Okay, here you go.
That one. Hang on, I got to find my thing first.
Let's not put up your private file.
It's a bunch of things. So hang on, I got to find this. I know I had it right here because this happens all the freaking time.
That's okay.
Oh, that's it. There we go. I'll show this one in a moment. All right, go ahead.
It's all good. Like when Hans was on the first time, actually with Jennifer, he was troubleshooting for the first 45 minutes. So it was the best.
Hans
was troubleshooting because he couldn't get his picture would come up, but he couldn't get audio, and he was troubleshooting. So every once in a while, he'd pop into frame, and then he'd leave. And so looking for a file for 2 minutes, not a big deal. All right, am I throwing it up?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to finish up this little thing, and then I'm going to go get that. Go ahead. So just finishing up my little thing that I pulled together these pieces from. This is like, what did people find helpful? What are people finding supportive? And I tried to find a few things. It's not available. You can read the columns for yourself. Here's what I think was the things. Informal meetings, not unlike this one. Look, helped a little, helped a lot. One of the highest answer out there. Right, 24 combined, etc. So really a big deal. And then one-to-one meetings with my supervisor was pretty much the next thing. I think that comes under the heading of being seen, in the sense of like, you see me, you understand me. I know you've got my back. You're telling me the reality. If there's somebody I need flexibility and cover from, you're it. Right. You're the person I'm getting the help from. So that's like really the second thing. And then there's a few things that are tying in different ways. But I think the thing is, people connecting up at work is a big deal. It just depends on what degree. So this kind of thing too, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
it is like, to me, I've gone on record of saying I'm not going back to the office. Like, I never want to go back, ever. And I don't know if I'm going to get away with that. There's talk of like, once a week, once every 2 weeks, and I said, okay, that's fine. But then I'm not really going to get a lot of work done on those days, because those are the days that I'm going to meet people and do like the stakeholder management and the relationship building and all that. So it's like, that's what I'm going to do on those days, because you do miss the connection. But you're right. Like, as long as you've got support from your immediate manager, and as long as you can give that support, if you've got people that report to you, then you can get through this. Like, you can get through it. The distributed teams do it all the time, and so it's possible. It's just foreign to us, and it's this imaginary fabricated box that we place ourselves in, and there is no box. Like, the box doesn't exist, but we're told that you can't work from home. It's impossible. And as long as you have the support.
I think it's just more that managers are not used to it. Remember, a lot of people go with
that's fair,
which is, if I can see you, I can tell that you're here, that you're doing work, whatever. There's so many more things, especially in the agile space, which doesn't always fit for folks. I know. It's just, look, hold us responsible for outcomes, not for process.
Yeah.
I mean, there are pieces of process, but on an individual level, hold me responsible for outcomes. And I've had one boss who was, a good enlightened guy on this. And also I said, well, because I was probing on it during an interview. What's your policy on people being here, on objectives? I said, I don't need you over my shoulder. My work style that's best is tell me what you want me to do. Respond if I tell you I have an urgent matter. Otherwise, it's not urgent. I'll tell you if it's urgent.
Right.
If it's not, I will not be bothering you urgently. I know that's a big deal. And otherwise, tell me what you want when you want it, and I'll get it done by then. I don't want to deal with it otherwise. And he said, good, because if I have to manage people by watching, if I have to be on top of you all the time, you're not the employee I need. I don't have time for that.
No.
And because you don't.
No, like that, and that doesn't really serve.
That always works for me.
That doesn't serve anybody, right? It doesn't serve you. Like I try to operate the same way. I like to be pretty autonomous. If there's something I need to get a hand with, I will let you know. But otherwise, for the most part, I'll handle it myself. But just being there so that I can come to you if I want to. I use my leader all the time for that. It's just like, today we had a conversation. Hey, I'm not having a good day. So if I'm in this workshop, I'm probably going to say something that's going to piss some people off. Sure enough, it happened, but at least it was like, he was ready for it, and it wasn't that bad. But it's just like we figure it out. We figure it out. Angela disappeared for a second, so it's just the two of us. Now we can talk about her.
Put up the screen. I'll go through this for a second.
You want to throw that back up? All right.
Yeah, this was going to be my thing. You asked me
again, Riley. This is like you're taking over my show here. This is highly irregular that I give someone a second screen.
Oh my god!
Only Steve Jones has had a second screen, and that was for a much more ridiculous reason. But go ahead. Perfect.
I literally get this question. I was getting this question from a lot of people because I told you I've been doing this. They only put out that thing in our platform to mute the backgrounds not too long ago. So a lot of people ask me this. So what is it? Well, way back, I used to do this stuff called Celtic. I used to carve this thing called Celtic knotwork, which you've seen probably in the Book of Kells if you're a fan of that kind of thing. It's this sort of stuff. Ooh. But it's like detailed in the background, and when you start seeing the hair, start seeing the wall pieces, just all this stuff. That's actually made up of all these kinds of things, and literally
tattoos. You mean these are all tattoos?
These are all tattoos. It's all it is. This is tattoo art. Yes. So I used to do a lot of this with forgive all the dust, but I used to do some of this to do some things. So there's more of this detailed in a little while. I went around the house and took some pictures. I haven't done this in a while. I did try a few years ago, and this is now a past thing for me. It's not a thing I connect with now. But on the wall are some specific pieces about this. So like that's a piece I really enjoyed doing.
You made these?
Yeah, in some cases, like these two, I made the boxes themselves, and then I got really tired of that, and I found some boxes that were pre-made, and I'm like, yeah, it's worth paying for this. I don't want to. If I need something custom, that's great because these only came in a few sizes. But you'll see details on these in a minute, although, I'm embarrassed by all the dust. I do now have a thing to handle that. So yeah, I did the carvings. I got creative once in a while with like adding a little slice of a geode in or something.
Jeez.
This is a piece I did.
I would not have guessed this. This is tremendous.
Yeah, this is a piece I did a while ago. I had done this. I did this as a piece for a gift to give to somebody, and things didn't work out. It's a candle box, and I did a little bit of wording on it. Not brighter than my love for thee. So kind of like something to give someone as a gift. I wound up getting it back when they divorced. I still think which I'm like, okay, that's nice. It was a lot of work, and it was a lot of work, and I still love both of you. So it's nice to get it back, but it's fun. So then these, there's some interpretive pieces. That one's kind of interpretive. I didn't do the drawing itself to start with. I borrowed a lot of that and etched over something. Like I transferred a pattern and redrew. I'm not that good an artist when it comes to drawing. I can do enough, but not much. And then
this is already
then kind of a female interpretive piece.
I can't. I don't know how this is like magic to me.
Well, I'll tell you more, but I'll just show you the catalog real quick. Again, I don't really do this anymore, but I do have the pieces on the wall now. So so those are staffs, which you can see are 4 to 6 feet long, depending. And I think I have detail pieces on this in a second. Come on, help me with that. There we go. So on the longest one, what you see is a running pattern that's carved on here. And again, these were fun to do. I had to make normal carving on a flat surface, not so bad. You can lay out a pattern and you can carve it. But I had to figure out how to lay out a pattern on a curved surface and then get the pattern all the way through that would work. So that was interesting. This piece, I also found out that you have to be careful if you are gathering wood in the wild, because insects go to sleep in the cold and they wake up when you bring them in, when you bring about a week after you bring the thing into your house. And like, oh, okay, there are little things in here. Glad this is a rental. Let me put this on the porch. They'll go. It was nothing major, but it was like, oh, what are you popping out of the thing I'm carving? Ah! And then there's this. Let me scroll up a little bit, I guess, here. I'm trying to find the right spot here. So a little detail on this one. This was a piece of wood. Yeah, that one. A friend of mine found this in Short Mountain in Tennessee. And what you see there, that's the one behind me. That's the spirally one. I think I can tell, but
I'm going to give you prominence here. Oh yeah.
So it's spirally in the back, and then it's straight for a bit, and then it's spirally again. And that happens, I was told, when this is a very soft kind of wood, and when this kind of tree is growing, it can get strangled by a vine, and then they compete for who's growing first. And then the vine dies because it gets too cold. The vines just die off in the cold. And then later on, it gets strangled again at a later point with the vine growing up it. So it had this long straight run for a bit that was kind of cool. A friend of mine knew I was doing these kinds of projects and gave this to me. I just stripped this one down, gave it some oil finish, and attached a few pieces and wrapped a leather handhold kind of thing to it. And then this last one is actually, I did nothing to. It's just an art piece. A friend of mine spent some time living in Alaska, and this is the only deadly, other than my dog, this is the only deadly object in the house. I guess knives, but see, requirements. I'm analyzing. What else is deadly in my home?
Right.
This is called diamond wood, and similar to that other one I was describing, in the middle of the diamond patterns, a fungus grows, and it causes the tree to grow in a different way around it to encapsulate it a bit. This has been stripped down somewhat, not by me. The fungus itself is actually deadly. You do not work with it once the fungus is there. Somebody else sprayed this with stuff, and then you leave it alone. You don't touch it because that, if inhaled, that can be deadly. So I will. So that's it. That's the pieces around. I have a few others, but there's not much to show about them.
This is like another layer of the onion, because like I am not handy at all. Like I can build stuff from IKEA. That's about it. So good for you, man. That's amazing.
This is all. I mean, honestly, I did all of this more or less in a period ending 25 years ago. It was a lot of fun. I tried a piece to see if that artistic kind of energy for this was there again, and it wasn't. So a totally different subject for maybe another time is, I think everybody has a piece of creative energy that comes out in their life somewhere. Yeah. And it's funny that mine has gone into writing, presenting, and other things about BA stuff that, like, when I'm doing this stuff, it's performance art. When I'm doing workshops and stuff, and I love that. So some of it's gone into like what I think of as intellectual artwork. Both my books are intellectual artwork. I don't care if they're commercial successes. It'd be nice, but I had to make them. They were art. I had to create that thing into the world. Right. And hopefully it does something nice otherwise, but it can't be the thought. I need to create that piece of art, which is one reason I self-publish. But anyway, I don't mean to monopolize, but that's the reason I do those things. I don't want to give up control on it, and it's my artistic energy.
It's all good. I found the same thing when I wrote my book last year. It's like, you have to really want to do it, because if you don't, you'll find an excuse not to.
Yeah, it's too much work.
And it's just like you just won't. It's you'll find a way to not do it. So we are coming up on time. I know we've got a hard out. Because conference season is starting up, and there are a lot of practice sessions, but I want to give you guys like 30 seconds each. Angela, we'll go with you first in case you have to drop off. Any last minute words of wisdom, and if people want to know more about you and get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Words of wisdom? You didn't prep me for that.
Well, I mean, there's got to be something you can drop on us. Even if it's just like taking from Bill and Ted, like be excellent to each other. That would be fine.
Yeah, change is the only constant, and I feel like the last 6 weeks we've gotten stronger muscles on it, and I think the next few months we're going to even build stronger ones. So I just challenge everybody to try not to say when is all of this going to be over, and try and lean in and embrace the change and say, what can we learn from it? What can we take from it?
Amen.
So you can find me on ba-cube.com, online membership platform for BAs, or ba-squared.com. And
awesome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you.
And Ryland, same question. Where, if people want to know more about you, where can they go?
LinkedIn is the best thing. My website's way stale, and I'm not really doing a lot of independent stuff these days either. But so LinkedIn is great, and I think I've been looking at who's here. I think I know a few people on it. Please, the huge thing I could ask for is please go ahead and take that link for the survey. And please put it out to your network. I'm struggling to get I need a broader sample. I really need to get like 500 people because it's non-random. And otherwise I'll do what I can. But please put that out with your network a few times, even. Hugely helpful to me. And beyond that, I'm doing remote talks and I love it. And it's because, like we were talking about changes, I can come down here and get in a great talk and a great time with people, and my commute's zero. I love it.
Yeah, you got a good space. I got this in the back. This is just a terrible space. But so Ryland, Angela, thank you so much for joining me on Analysts After Work. Dan, Steve, Joe Foe, I think I just gave you a nickname and I apologize. Judy, Jared, Danelkis, Rick, Mohammed, thank you guys for joining us. And if I missed you, I apologize. But this has been Analysts After Work, and we will catch you in the next one. See ya.
See ya.
Bye, y'all.